Okay, good evening. Welcome to another in the series, Master Your Life. So we're live. We're live on Instagram. We're live on Facebook. Absolutely. This is another in the series, Master Your Life, where we join each week at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, live from Jamaica, Kingston, Jamaica to be exact. So what are we going to talk about this week? Today, I'd like to speak a little bit about confidence, and in particular, 4 ways how you can build your confidence. Confidence is something that a lot of people struggle with, as one way to put it. In other words, sometimes people say they lack confidence or they do not have enough confidence to do something or to be. And that's the reason why I want to spend some time and speak about confidence, how important it is for us to have confidence. Now, of course, as usual, I believe what I share is relevant to you persons who are tuning in, and as such, I want you to share this video. Yes, share this video with your friends, share this video with your colleagues, and spread the word, because we're going to be talking about confidence today. So, as usual, I start with a story. You would have realized by this that I love to tell stories. And I came across a story in preparing to deliver this particular live on Facebook and on Instagram. And here's a story that I find quite inspirational, and I'm going to share now. So there was this business executive who was in deep debt, and he could see no way out. At least that's how he was thinking. Creditors were closing in on him, suppliers were demanding payment, and one day he went to the park and he sat on the bench at the park with his head in his hands. And he was wondering if anything at all could save his company from bankruptcy. Suddenly, an old man appeared before him, and the man said, "I can see that something is troubling you." Now, after listening to the executive's woes, the old man said, "I believe I can help you." So this executive asked the man his name. The man proceeded to write a check and push it into the executive's hand and say, "Take this money, meet me here exactly 1 year from today, and you can pay me back at that time." The man then turned around and disappeared as quickly as he had come. The business executive saw in his hand a check for $500,000 US, signed by John D. Rockefeller. Then he was one of the richest men in the world. So the business executive thought to himself, "I can erase my money worries in an instant." But guess what? Instead, the executive decided to put the uncashed check in his safe. Now, just knowing it was there gave him some strength to work out a way to save his business. So he thought. So with renewed optimism, he negotiated better deals and extended terms of payment. He closed several big sales, and within a few months, he was out of debt and making money once again. Now, exactly 1 year later, he returned to the park with the uncashed check. At the agreed upon time, the old man appeared. But just as the executive was about to hand him back the check and share his success story, a nurse came running up and grabbed the old man and said, "Oh, I'm so glad I caught him." She cried, "I hope he wasn't bothering you. You know, he always escaped from the rest home and tell people he's John D. Rockefeller." And she led away the old man. The astonished executive just stood there, stunned. All year long, he had been wheeling and dealing, buying and selling, and convinced that he had $500,000 in his safe. Suddenly, he realized that it wasn't the money, real or imagined, that had turned his life around. It was, in fact, his newfound self-confidence that gave him the power to achieve anything he went after. You know, when I read this story, I thought it was a very beautiful story. It's very inspirational. And this story, it says the author is unknown. I don't think it is per se unknown. I mean, I guess we just don't know the name of the person. It doesn't mean that no one knows. I don't know the person, and the person who shared this story probably just didn't know the name of the person. But I think this story is very inspirational, and it serves as a way to remind us how it is that we can step into our confidence, become more confident in whatever it is that we are in pursuit of, or whatever it is that we are doing. So it's very fitting for me to share that story. And like I mentioned, I'm going to share with you 4 ways how you can step into and build your confidence. The leading thought I want you to keep at the forefront of your mind is this. And it was said by Marcus Mosiah Garvey. Marcus said, "If you have no confidence in self, you are twice defeated in the race of life." Just keep that thought at the forefront of your mind. If you have no confidence in yourself, you are twice defeated in the race of life. That was said by Marcus Mosiah Garvey, one of Jamaica's national heroes. So here's a teaching that I want to share with you as it relates to the 4 ways how you can step into your confidence, how you can build your confidence, because confidence is important. But you know, interestingly, before we talk about these ways, let's talk a little bit about what is confidence. Just think for a moment, what is confidence? Now, I put it to you that confidence is that feeling or that belief that you can have faith in something or rely on something or someone in achieving what you're setting out to achieve. That's just my way to say confidence is. I find it quite interesting that without much thinking, we are actually behaving very confident every single day. And I'll take your mind to a few of those situations. Now think about when you wake up in the mornings, or probably, yes, you go home one evening, it's dark, and you turn on the light. Aren't you confident that when you approach that light switch, to flick that switch, light will come on? Yes, there you're exercising confidence. Here's another example of how you're exercising confidence without really thinking about it. Think about when you wake up in the morning and you're about to leave to go to work. You go in your car, you turn that key in the ignition with the expectation that the car will start. And what that says to me is that you are going in confidence knowing that it will start. You know, I find it quite ironic that the things we don't think about, we approach it with some amount of confidence. But the very thing we think about, we approach it with somewhat less confidence. And let me give you an example. So you now have to deliver this speech. And the moment you start to think about delivering this speech, you start to feel the butterflies in your tummy. And you start to feel not confident enough. So I'm thinking it's kind of ironic that we are confident about things we don't think about, and at times we are less confident in the things we think about. So my assessment of that is that it's not really the thinking is the problem. It's how we do the thinking. Food for thought. Think about that. And while you do it confidently. Yes? So for me, that's an irony of sorts, because, you know, people don't exhibit the confidence they ought to in things that they should, but yet still, there are things they're confident about which they don't even think about, but when you break it down, they're really being confident. So I want you to think about that. So I'm here to share some strategies with you in thought, how you can boost your confidence. So here's the first thing I believe one should have in boosting confidence. Now, here is what I believe. I believe that the first step one can take in boosting confidence is to be clear, is to have clarity of what it is that you intend. Clarity is the quality of being clear. So, as an example, if you are clear in that you will deliver a speech, yes, in your mind, that's a very crystal clear picture. The goal is clear, or the dream is clear. And going back to the story, what was clear is that the business executive wanted to get out of debt. That was clear to him. Well, in some sort of way, because he really didn't know how. Now, the how doesn't matter sometimes, because in the first instance, what you want to do is to have that clarity of what your intention is. Yes? So he was clear that he wanted to be debt-free, right? So prior to the meeting of this, as you probably realize, this was a madman, this was a mental patient. So prior to meeting this mental patient, he was clear about what he wanted. He wanted to get out of debt, right? He wasn't so sure how he would have done that, but at least he had a mental picture what it is that he desired. And I speak about this in the context of when we know our why are we doing something? Why are we pursuing something? That conviction in the deepest part of our soul stands firm and in of itself helps to boost our confidence. So if you know that this speech that you're going to give is what is going to give you an opportunity to stand out in your organization, instead of worrying about the butterflies that you will be getting when you go on that stage, don't worry about the butterflies, because that's normal. That's just biological. Everybody gets nervous. That's normal. But if you keep your confidence down or believe that you're not confident, you're twice defeated. So instead of worrying about the butterflies, your job is to align those butterflies in your gut and make them appear in a clear line, because they're also going to serve you. So think about clarity in that sort of way. Clarity is related to your why. And when you connect with your why, it helps you stepping into your confidence. So let me give you a reason why it is important. Because you see, when you know what your why is, it gives you a clear sense of purpose. And that sense of purpose enables you to focus your efforts on what matters most rather than worry about the odds and the obstacles that might come up in your way. So that's the first thing you want to do. That's the first strategy. Be clear in your mind. Why are you doing this? What is your why? And your why is going to be like jet fuel that will propel you forward. That is clarity. That's the first step you can take, right? In stepping into building your confidence. What's the second step you could take? The second step you could take is one I call courage. You should be courageous. Now, courage is really the ability to do something that frightens you. Yes. If the thing don't frighten you, it didn't really take courage. Yeah, man. Courage is acting despite the fear. That's what courage is. You want to do this thing, but you fear. And when you do it, you are being courageous despite the fear. And fear here means that you're not so sure how it will work out. So you start to have some doubts and some fears in your mind. But I want to remind you that the people who are courageous, they are the ones who really believe in themselves. And they are the ones who take action despite the possibilities of failure. And more often than not, these are the people who things work out for in the end, in their favor. So wouldn't you want to be in that number of being courageous in an effort to build your confidence? As you understand it, courage is an action step. You have to take that step despite the fears. So let me give you an example of how I was courageous, at least at some point or beyond some point. So I used to attend a poetry session many years ago. A friend of mine had invited me. So I'd gone because I really love poetry. And I had some poems that I really wanted to share. That was my why. My why was I really wanted to share these poems because I thought people would love them. But guess what? The first time I went to that session, I actually lacked courage. Yes, I lacked courage. The person said to me, come on, man, go on and try out your thing. And I'm like, no, I'm not ready yet. Because I had some doubts, I had some fears. And my doubts and my fears were such that, boy, I wonder if them going to like what I have to say. No, this is after I make up my mind to say that them going to like it. But when you're in that moment, you can change your mind. You're like, no, I don't think I won't. And that was me in my taking on some courage. So in the end, what happened? I connected with my fears. Yes, I connected with my fears. I recognized what they are. And I said, you know what? Whatever want to happen, happen. So I went on stage because I reminded myself of the why. I reminded myself that it was important that they heard me. It was important that they hear what I had to say because I knew they would love it. At least that's how I was thinking at the time. That's how I felt at the time. So I connected with my why. I allowed my fears and my doubts to just be quieted. Yes, quiet. And then the courage that I required, I mustered up and I went on stage. And guess what? I delivered. But honestly, all through the delivery, the butterflies were within and they were fluttering. They were not really lined up because I did it despite the fear. I was really wondering how it was going to work out. I was trembling all the time in my mind. And then guess what? When the people started to cheer me on because they liked what they heard, it gave me a boost. It boosted my confidence. So I had more courage and they cheered me on. And interestingly, I got an encore. Now, one could ask, so what would have happened if them never receive you well? What you'd have done? Well, that's a reasonable question. Well, guess what? That would be for me feedback. It means I must wheel and come again. And that's part of life. We have to view these situations as learning opportunities because everything not going to work out all the time, every time. Otherwise, we wouldn't learn. So we learn from mistakes, if you want to call them mistake. We learn from feedback. We learn from opportunities. And these opportunities help to guide us as how we need to act the next time. Another quick story I could share when I speak about courage. I recall when I was interested to join the pharmaceutical industry. I recall very clearly that the job I actually applied for, the position I applied for, I did not have what that specific job description was asking for. I did not have experience selling that specific product. But guess what? I reconnected with my why. My why was that I really wanted to be in this industry. And I took action. And the action was such that I was courageous despite the fear of what might happen in going up for the interview and probably don't get the job. No, what's the worst thing can happen? I don't get the job. And what's the best thing can happen? I get the job. Well, the truth is, I got the job. Now, in that interview, yes, I was confident somewhat. Yes, but I knew jolly well in the back of my mind that, boy, guess what? I don't have everything what the people them ask for. But I acted despite the doubt and despite the fear. So, the second step is to be courageous. And all I'm saying is that you must do that which you desire and allow courage to conquer your fear. That's what I would encourage you to do. And the third step I want to share in how you can boost your confidence is to be competent. In other words, acquire competence. Competence for me simply means the ability to do something successfully or efficiently. So, let us say I want to juggle a ball. As a footballer, I want to juggle a ball. I could juggle the ball, juggle the ball, juggle the ball, juggle the ball. But I'm not necessarily doing it successfully. I might be failing in the process. So competence is speaking about juggling the ball successfully and efficiently, where I could juggle to 1,000 or I could juggle to 2,000 or whatever case may be. So that's an example of what competence means. Competence again means learning to drive, and not only learning to drive, but learning to drive well. So I can drive a car from one point to another, and not just to move it from A to B, meaning a very short distance, but meaning to drive through the mountains and the hills and the valleys from one end of Jamaica to the next end. That's competence. Now, how do we really increase our competence? Well, like I mentioned, it occurs when we do something over and over, and each time we are gaining some sort of success. Because the truth is, if you keep on doing the same thing over and over and not getting any results of your desire, perhaps you're not being competent. So that's the extremes of what we're talking about in doing something. At one end, you have competence. At the other end, you don't have competence. Now, one of the things about competence is that we can fail while we're at it. So we fail, and what do? We learn from the failure. That's feedback. And we take a step in the direction of where we're going. Another view I want you to embrace is that of many times we want to do something, but because we are not competent, we fail taking that step. Yes? Just think about it if you are guilty of that. No, I don't want to start doing that because I don't feel good. I don't think I'm ready. Well, guess what? Sometimes you'll probably never be ready in being fully competent at something. You just need to start. Start, do what you can with what you have, and get better at it as time goes by. In other words, learn as you go. Learn as you go. Some things give you that chance. Yeah, there are some things you have to be competent before you can do it. I agree. But there are things you can learn in as you go. So for example, my competence. How did I improve my competence in the delivery of my poems on stage? Well, like I said, at the very first instant, I didn't want to go. Well, I did want to go, I knew my why. But then, because I was lacking the courage in that particular moment, I had fear and I had doubt. And then I did it the first time. Because I took courage, I took the action of courage, I got a chance now to improve on the skill of delivering successfully. So the response I got from the audience, because it was overwhelming, it pushed me on, it helped to motivate me, it inspired me to practice more and increase my competence at delivering these poems from the stage. So ultimately, when you do more of that which you're getting better at, you can step into boosting your confidence. In fact, in his 2008 book, Outliers, Malcolm Gladwell wrote that 10,000 hours is the maximum number of greatness. And you might have heard about 10,000 in the context of, what's his name? This man who dealt with the light. He was trying to harness light. Can't remember his name right now. And it was like about 10,000 times or more, it's so to speak, that he failed. And they said, why do you keep going? And he said, well, at least I know 10,000 ways how not to do it. Now, I'm not saying that you need to do everything or anything 10,000 times to be successful at it. Not at all. The key point I'm making here is that if you want to be good at anything, it requires practice, it requires diligence, it requires purposefulness of practice if you want to be extraordinary. Yes? And competence sometimes goes into the realm of being extraordinary, which is what a lot of persons seek. So at the end of the day, ask yourself this question: what is it that you would love to be competent at? What it is that you would want to improve your confidence in? So for me, the simple formula of how you can increase or boost your confidence is to remind yourself of what is your why, be clear about that, take action despite fear, which is being courageous, and thirdly, seek to improve your competence. And that in of itself can help to boost your confidence. The fourth way is to get a coach. You can get a person, or you can buy a book, or you could go to YouTube and watch a video and learn something. coaching really is a form of development in which somebody you call a coach supports somebody else who is a learner or a client in achieving a specific purpose or specific goal. It could be a personal goal, it could be a professional goal, and that person gets to that level of development through training and guidance. Now, you could probably coach yourself into being able to do something. For example, I was telling the story today of somebody who he learned this game, and I don't know this game, like it's called lacrosse. He saw it, he liked it, he never played. And he said he's going to go on YouTube and he's going to check out what this game is, and he liked it. And guess what? He teaches at a school, and he thought that, boy, you know, I could learn this game and I could probably share this game with the students at the school, and he did that. And then there was a lacrosse competition. And guess what? The boys he trained, first of all, he trained himself in understanding what this thing was. And the boys he trained, they placed very well in a particular competition. So the fourth way is really to get some coaching. Now, many people can't coach themselves. That's clear, yeah? Because if you think about it, if you're in a picture, you can't see yourself. So a coach is really somebody who is on the outside looking on and help to guide you along. So I recommend that you, if it is that you want to get confidence or boost your confidence in a particular area, you might want to think about getting a coach. So for example, people who do not speak very well or they want to improve the way they speak, they could get a speech coach. Or you are an athlete and you want to improve your technique, you could get a particular coach in that area of the sport that you're doing. Or you want to write better, you could get a writer, a coach who helps you be a better writer. And right across the world today, there are coaches for everything. You want a coach to help you eat better, we have a health coach. If you want a coach like myself who can help you get better at managing your life, and when I say managing your life, aspects of your life. So for example, let's say you're in an organization and you get this job, but you just don't feel like you have the confidence to navigate because probably you don't have the competence. So you get a promotion to a position where you have never been before. You have no experience in that area, and you have some doubts and fears, and you have this great lack of confidence in your mind. How can you, void of taking the steps that I ask you to take, one of the first three, how are you going to get there? Well, a coach could show you what you're not doing well and encourage you what you could do to get there. So that's the purpose of a coach. A coach is there to guide you. It's like your sounding board, right? So those are the four ways that I would encourage you to consider in improving or boosting your confidence, okay? So we're almost at the end of the call. It's about 2 minutes we have left. So what I just shared with you, whether you're an aspiring speaker, whether you are a business executive, just like the man from this story, whether you're a sportsman, whether you are a student or whoever you are, and you feel like you lack confidence, I'm here to say to you that as a coach, I could be that boost, that aid to get you to that level of confidence that you require to be the best version of who you are. So almost at the end, I always ask you to follow me on my various media, whether it is Facebook, you just search for my name, Winroy Williams, whether it's Instagram or LinkedIn or Twitter. Please share this video. Anyone who is watching, please share this video. I encourage you, please share this video. I want to get this message out to as many people as possible. View the video, like the video, comment, share the video. Also, I'd love for you to visit my website, winroywilliams.com. There's a free book there. It's actually there for you. It's called 50 Powerful Quotes for Motivating You. You put in your name, you submit your email address, and you click submit, and the book comes to you. 50 Powerful Ways for Motivating You. And I will be super delighted, of course, to be of service to you as you seek to improve or boost your confidence. I'm the coach that you might want to consider to help you in boosting your confidence. So in summary, what we looked at this week, 4 ways how you can boost your confidence. And the first way is that you want to be very clear about what it is that you want. You have to identify, you have to connect with your why. You have to be clear, you want clarity. The second thing you want to act, be courageous despite the fear. Fear, that's normal. The butterflies, they're normal, just line them up. You want to be courageous, act despite the fear. And the third way is that you want to be competent. You want to practice, and you want to become competent at the thing that you desire very much. And the last way, if all the others fail on your own, it's very important that you get a coach. That coach could help you in a quantum way where you end up getting a transformation beyond your wildest dreams. So I want to say to you, until next week, I encourage you, go confidently in the direction of your goals. Go confidently in the direction of your dreams. Now, I am Winroy Williams, and until next week, I want to wish you a very happy rest of week and a very confident approach to the week. Thank you very much for joining.